Hi friends, and welcome to today's video. I'm Jeanette with Vival Vintage Designs. Today's video should be a lot of fun. I hope that you enjoy it and that you give it a try. Now let's get started. Hi friends, are you wondering what we're working on today? Well, we are going to take this inexpensive frame that I purchased at Dollar Tree. It's plastic. It is really cheesy looking, but we're going to transform it using air dry clay and these silicone molds. So get your stuff together and let's get started. All right, so to start this project, let's go over the list of supplies. I have some wood glue in a little cup here with an old brush. I've got some air dry clay. I've never used this brand Jovi before, so I'm curious to see how it's going to work. I've got an inexpensive plastic frame that I got at Dollar Tree. You can use any frame that you have in the house that you don't like. I have a brush so that I can coat the molds with a little bit of cornstarch so that they release easier. And I have this little blade that I used when I was working with polymer clay to cut the clay. I have some hand wipes, or these are actually bathroom wipes, but I like to use them to clean my hands. And then I have a couple of silicone molds here to find which one best fits the size of this frame. Something else that we're going to need is, you can use something like this. This is a scraper that still has clay from my last project on it. But if you have one of these blades, this will make life a lot easier. This is a flexible blade that you can use. But anyway, either one will do. Even a butter knife, anything you have that you can scrape with. So now I went through these molds. This one is bigger than this. This one is too small. Those are too small. And the only one that seems to be the right size is this one here. It's not my favorite, but it's not what I would have chosen, but it's the only one that fits. So we're going to use that. I'm making a mess and I haven't even started yet. So it's important to make sure that it is the same size as the frame. That's why I purchased a smaller frame. You can do a larger frame, but then you've got to match pieces together, and I didn't want to have to do that. So I just got one that I thought would work. So I'm not even, well, you know what? I guess I should open this and remove all the other stuff from it that we're not going to use, just so that we don't dirty it. And this is actually glass. It's not even plastic, which is what I thought it would be. So now I'm going to take my cornstarch, and I'm just going to use this really soft brush that I have, and I'm going to brush some cornstarch in here so that it releases easily. You don't have to use this, but it makes life a lot easier if you do. So that's good. Now let's open up our clay. I'm really trying not to cut myself with this. All right. So I'm going to grab my first piece of air dry clay, and I'm going to try and make sure I grab enough to fill that mold. And the first thing you need to do is knead the clay. All right, now I'm going to roll it. And I'm going to try and roll it to the length of the mold. And then we're going to push it in there. And I'm going to do this 4 times so that I have a mold for each side of the frame. Okay, now let's start pushing that in. And of course, this is way too much clay, but it's better to have too much than not enough. And now I'm going to take this little blade and I'm going to start cutting off the excess clay. And again, if you don't have one of these, it's okay. You can use a scraper, you can use a butter knife, whatever you have on hand. That will make this easier for you. You don't have to have all these tools. And now I'm going to start making sure that it's level. So I'm just running the blade against the sides of the mold to to make sure that it is the same, that it's even. I have to say, this blade makes it really easy. Okay, now let's remove it. I'm going to turn it upside down and I'm going to start peeling it up. And with my fingers, I'm gently going to remove the clay. So this is what I'm doing. Just going to remove the clay, and you see how easily that came out because I put the cornstarch in it. So, all right, that's number one. Let's get that out of the way, and let's grab some more clay and do this 3 more times. Okay, here's piece number 2. Let's continue. We've got 2 more to make. All right, I have my 4 pieces made and out of the mold, and I did take the frame and sand it a little bit. If you choose to do that, make sure you wear a mask and then use a fiber cloth, a microfiber cloth, to clean it off. And I should have washed my hands also, but that's why we have the little baby wipes here, or whatever, hand wipes, whatever you have. It just makes life easier to be able to quickly wipe some of this stuff off your hands because it will coat your hands. Anyway, so now I'm going to start putting down my molds, and I see that this particular mold is thinner on one side than it is on the other, so I'm going to use the thinner side towards the inside and the thicker side on the outside. I'm going to begin by brushing on my glue, and I'm simply using wood glue. That's what I always use. And I'm not painting this before I adhere this. I'm going to wait. That's what I forgot. Craft paint. We're going to use some craft paint to paint this. So I'm going to put the glue down on the entire frame because there is a method to my madness, and you'll see that in just a moment. Okay, now that I have all 4 sides covered, I'm going to start placing my molds. And you have to do this while the mold is still wet. Don't let it dry first, because when they dry, they become warped, and you don't want that. So make sure you do it while it's still wet. Let's grab another one, put it down on this side. And don't worry whether they came out absolutely perfect or not, because we're going to paint this, and once we paint it, it's going to look fantastic. So don't worry about perfection. Just get them down. I just stuck my nail in that one. And now, for the corners, what I am going to do is I am going to put the mold down, and I'm going to let it overlap the one underneath it, and I'll show you why in just a moment. Make sure you have them where you want them. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this tool, and I'm going to cut the corner so that when I'm going to start here, and I'm going to go right down to the corner, I'm going to cut through both pieces. And what that does is it helps you, so you remove that piece, and then you go underneath and you remove the other piece, and you have a mitered corner, except I cut this twice. But there you go, you have a perfect corner. The hardest part is having to wait for this to dry. I'm going to run my fingers along the sides to make sure that it is perfectly in place where I want it. And then we're just going to let it dry. We have to wait about 24 hours for this to dry completely before we can proceed with the next step. All right, let's come back tomorrow and see how this looks. Okay, it is the next day, and I found that there were a lot of cracks in this clay. The price was right, but the quality is not so great. If I do this again, and I will, I'll be using the DOS air dry clay. But I think that once I paint this, it will be fine. So I have a couple of craft paints here. I have one called Parchment and the other one is Dark Chocolate. So the first thing I am going to do is put a coat of the beige on here. So I'm going to put it into a little cup. I don't have a lot left in here, but okay, let's start with that. And I'm going to coat the entire thing, and I'm hoping that once I coat it, all these cracks fill in and won't be so noticeable. Now we let it dry. All right, so for this next step, I have a little bowl of water, I have a little piece of a sea sponge, and now I'm going to take this brown color and I'm just going to add some of this brown into my little bowl here. I don't think I'll even need that much. And then I'm going to add a little bit of water because I want to dilute this a little. And what I'm going to do is antique it. I'm getting paint all over me. So I'm going to mix that brown with a little bit of water to dilute it. Okay, so let's get this out of the way. And now I'm going to take this paint and I'm going to brush it. Make sure that your frame is dry. And I'm going to brush it and make sure to get into all of those little crevices. I'll show you how you can do it with a paper towel. Just take your paper towel, fold it, wet it a little bit, squeeze out the water, and then just run it across. Actually, I like the way the paper towel works best. I'm going to continue to use that. Okay, once you've lightened it as much as you like and you're happy with your antiquing, and of course you don't even have to antique this at all. I just happen to like this style and it matches my decor. Now we're going to let this dry completely and then we'll come back and add a coat of Mod Podge. Okay, my paint is dry. Now I'm going to use a little Mod Podge. This is the matte finish and I'm going to brush on a coat of it. Despite the cracks, I really liked the way this turned out. It looks so aged and matches my decor perfectly. I hope that you enjoyed the video and that you give it a try. Check out the description box and the comment section for links to the products used. Let me know if you have any questions, and please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.